We've seen a growing number of arrests and convictions involving area faith leaders. And when this happens, experts say it often affects the morale and faith of church members. Tonight, Brent Solomon investigates how area churches are trying to reassure their congregations and heal their broken spirits.
For many, focus is found through faith.
We're going to pray together.
No matter the religion, week after week, people gather to renew their spirits and show reverence to a higher power.
If there be any virtue and if there be any praise, think on these things.
It's what Bam Bam Spradling of Henrico credits to restoring his life.
Was sexually abused when I was 9 years old. And so I grew up hating my dad. I hated his guts. I mean, I couldn't stand him.
So he turned to a life of drugs and violence. After his release from prison, he found new hope in the Richmond Outreach Center, better known as The Rock.
Maybe God did have a plan, and maybe that if I learned to trust somebody else besides myself, because I didn't do a very good job.
For 9 years, he remained faithful until now.
Aguilar was indicted on 2 counts.
The church's former pastor, Geronimo Aguilar, made headlines after a Texas grand jury indicted him in September for allegations of indecency with a child. He also faces sexual assault charges for allegations dating back to 1996.
I was angry. That makes you go, man, do I want to even go to another church and tithe ever again?
Aguilar is only one of several area ministers we've reported on with run-ins with the law. Just this week, Olander Cottrell went back to court, this time federal court, for lying to the FBI. In June, a court found the minister guilty of felony arson after police say he lied, claiming someone else had painted a racial slur on his Chesterfield home before setting it on fire. Also this week, Chris Phillips, a former youth minister in Hanover, pled guilty to embezzlement. He now faces 20 years in prison for stealing $87,000 from the Mechanicsville Advent Church after court documents revealed he paid a woman he met online for sex. In January, another minister, Kelvin Good, found guilty of contributing to the delinquency of a minor after investigators say he visited a Chesterfield church, making contact with a 14-year-old and requested sexual favors. He's now serving time.
That's why we've lost our glow in the community.
Richmond Bishop Darrell Husband oversees a dozen Richmond pastors in an alliance that brings churches together. He believes scenarios like these hurt the spiritual body. Husband says churches are often the cornerstone of the community. So whenever shame falls upon a pastor or a minister, all eyes turn towards him. That's because faith leaders, he says, are held to a higher standard. But he adds it's important for churchgoers to keep their mission in check.
Don't just walk into church and feel good about the worship service and say, boy, I'm going to join this church, or that was a great word today. We need to start investigating the lives of the people that we're following. Stop making your pastor God.
It's a lesson Spradling says he learned even before the allegations at The Rock.
This taught me to look at God first and not a man, because man's going to let you down.
And while he's still looking for a new church home, one thing he hasn't lost is faith.
I have to stop and read that verse, Philippians 4:8, and think about that. Otherwise, I find myself becoming angry and bitter, and I don't want to be like that, because then I start doing stupid stuff.
Brent Solomon, NBC 12.
Geronimo Aguilar, known as Pastor G, formerly of The Rock, is the only minister mentioned in this report still awaiting trial. We reached out to The Rock for comment about how the church is moving forward. The church declined.